Super Smash Bros., a game known for its strategy-based open combat. A game known for answering the endless questions of who would win in a fight between X and Y. A game not exactly known for its scientific accuracy.
Off the stage, do like Mario and jump.
And if you're a physics nerd, like me, there are probably a good few things that bothers you with this game. Now, sure, I can accept that Mario punches Bowser, a dragon that is many times bigger than him, off of a platform with a single blow that would not only make a hole in Bowser, but also break Mario's arm and send Mario flying backwards. I can accept that, And sure, I can accept that characters somehow jump in the middle of the air and control where they're going to fall, despite not having any control over where they land. But I cannot for the life of me accept this gravity Nintendo. I mean, look at it. Just look at it. What the hell is this? Hey, if you're a subscriber, you might want to wait until the end of the video. I have some pretty important channel updates. 2019 updates, you might call them. Anyways, thanks. So, gravity. Gravity is really complex and really fascinating, but also really deep, with many layers, with everything from accelerating forces to air resistance and... okay, I lied, that is pretty much everything there is to it, but it's still fascinating. Real-life gravity is an accelerating force, as I just mentioned, meaning that the longer you fall, the faster you're going to fall over time. Let's take an example. Let's say you were driving in a car and you look at the speedometer and it says you are driving 50 kilometers per hour. Now you look at the speedometer again 10 minutes later and now it says 75 kilometers per hour. The speed at which your car has been driving has increased, meaning that you have accelerated. Whoa. Okay, so let's take an example of non-accelerating forces. Let's say that you are in the same car and, just like last time, you look at the speedometer, it says 50 kilometers per hour. But now, when you look at the speedometer again 10 minutes later, it still says 50 kilometers per hour. This means that your car's momentum has stayed the same and thus it hasn't accelerated. This all means that when I say that gravity is an accelerating force, it means that as you fall you pick up momentum. Everything falls towards the Earth at the exact same speed, assuming no air resistance. But we will get to that later. And that speed is 9.8 meters per second squared at sea level. Now, in this part of the video, you're probably expecting me to apply this to Super Smash Bros., saying how the gravity there is accelerating and thus very unrealistic. Well, you'd be halfway right. The reason I came up with this idea in the first place was because I was playing Smash Bros. And it seemed as though gravity wasn't really accelerating, but I did some more research and this turned out not to be the case at all. Every character in Super Smash Bros. Has what's called a gravity and a falling speed, as in two different units, one gravity and one falling speed. Now these doesn't really exist in real life, but just let me explain. The falling speed of a character determines, or rather puts a number on how fast the characters fall. Slowest characters, we're talking about Ultimate right now, the slowest characters in the game are Peach, Daisy and Jigglypuff, and the fastest ones are Fox, Lil Mac and King Dedede. It's important to note that falling speed is non-accelerating, meaning that a character that falls will fall at that speed at all times, not accelerate like I just described. Gravity, on the other hand, puts a number on how fast a character reaches their falling speed, exactly like an accelerating force. Now it's important to note that in the game, a character that has a fast gravity does not necessarily have a fast falling speed, and vice versa. Just take King DDD as an example. King DDD is one of the fastest falling characters in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but he is on 31st place out of 58 when it comes to gravity. Now these terms, gravity and falling speed, they might seem like they contradict everything we thought we knew about gravity thus far, but believe it or not, it actually fits in perfectly well with how gravity works in real life. It's because of something I haven't brought up yet for the sake of dramatic tension. Air resistance and terminal velocity. Let's start off with air resistance. So imagine you're riding a bicycle or a roller coaster, or you're sitting on top of a double-decker bus without any roof, for whatever reason, and you feel the air brushing through your hair and whipping against your face like a melodramatic romantic novel. That is air resistance. You see, contrary to popular belief, air has mass, meaning that we need to push it to the sides in order for the object that's moving to move forwards, just like when you're in a pool and you feel resistance on you when you move forwards. Now, we do that by, we push the air to the sides by giving extra energy to the object that's moving, so that we can push the air to the side. And this also applies to what we call free fall, which I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Falling freely. It's really not that difficult. It's like skydiving or suicide. You know what I mean. All of this means that an object with a larger surface area, basically meaning a bigger bottom, is going to fall slower than an object with a lower surface area. That is why the football falls to the ground faster than the feather does, because air takes longer time to bend around the feather like this than it does around the football. If, however, we remove all air at all, there was no air whatsoever, they would both fall to the ground at the exact same speed. And the same acceleration that's implied in the same speed. I just ruined all opportunity for a second shot of this. Oh well. Now the other thing I wanted to talk about is what's called terminal velocity. Air resistance pushes back at you with a force that accelerates when you're falling. At a certain point, the force that pushes you downwards, gravity, is going to equal the force that pushes you back up, air resistance. At that point, you're going to stop accelerating, you're still going to fall, but you're not going to be moving any faster, and you will have hit terminal velocity. Now, it is not actually possible to hit terminal velocity, because terminal velocity is the type of thing that you can only get really, really close to, but never actually hit. You can get up to 90% near the terminal velocity, you can get up to 99% terminal velocity, you can get 99.9% of terminal velocity, but not exactly terminal velocity. It's a bit complicated to explain exactly why, so just accept that it is this way. Unlike, say for example, the speed of light in a vacuum or the speed of sound in our atmosphere, terminal velocity doesn't have a fixed speed, like exactly 9 meters per second or exactly 300 miles per hour. It's more like a dependent force that depends on the object that's falling. What's the texture of what's falling? How dense is it? What mass does it have? What's the density of the atmosphere? And so many other things. But density of the atmosphere most often have the most impact on what's falling. In this part of the video, I would have liked to do a comparison between the real-life gravity and air resistance versus the air resistance and gravity in Super Smash Bros. But I can't, and do you know why? Because the falling speed and gravity values that I talked about earlier doesn't mean crap. Like, they have literally no meaning at all. I have searched everywhere, on every fandom page and every wiki article I could find. I even checked Nintendo's official website itself. I could not find anything about what gravity and falling speed actually mean, or what values actually mean. In Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Fox has a falling speed of 2.1. 2.1 what? 2.1 centimeters per day, 2.1 kilometers per hour, 2.1 meters per second. What do you mean 2.1, Nintendo? So, because the gravity and falling points don't really mean a thing in Super Smash Bros., I guess, I had to find a clip of a Super Smash Bros. Character falling, do the pixel measurements, and compare the pixels to their cannon height. Except, guess what? That doesn't work either, and I'll tell you why, because the Super Smash Bros. Height system is, just like its gravity, seriously screwed up. You know, I'm almost starting to think that Nintendo isn't trying to make every single one of their games scientifically accurate. Nah. If we compare the two characters, Kirby and Super Mario, you clearly see what I mean. Kirby's cannon height is 8 inches, or 20 centimeters, while Super Mario is 5 feet 11 inches, or 1 meter and 80 centimeters. However, if we put them back to back in the game, Mario is twice as high as Kirby. Canonically, he used to be 9 times as tall as Kirby, now he's twice. Twice. I'm sorry, but I refuse to believe that this is some sort of perspective thing. This is wrong. So, the cannon heights cannot be trusted, because they are totally not in line with each other, and falling speed and gravity numbers don't really mean a thing. How am I supposed to point out to you that the gravity in Super Smash Bros. Is weird if I don't have any numbers to work with? Well, there's no other way. None that I can see, at least. So, unfortunately, I'm not able to provide you with realistic numbers. Numbers that would make any sort of sense in any sort of context. So, I will have to conclude with this. I did the pixel measurement on a clip of Mario falling from the top to the bottom of a map, and you won't believe the numbers I found out.
Huh, I can make that the title of the video. Nah.
Mario stopped accelerating after 0.66 seconds. Yes, you heard that right. He stopped accelerating after a little bit more than half a second. For comparison's sake, a normal human in ordinary Earth atmosphere with ordinary Earth gravity stops accelerating or hits 99% of terminal velocity after about 15 seconds. So we have half a second versus 15. The comparison is ridiculous. Now, I know I just said that heights in this game cannot be trusted, but remember who I was comparing Mario to. Kirby. I'm sorry, but it's not possible to have a character in a video game that's 40 centimeters tall, where everyone is almost 2 meters or more. That simply doesn't work. So I'm going to cut Nintendo some slack and say that, okay, hypothetically, if Mario's height is legit, how fast is his falling?
I have found Mario to be about 67 pixels tall, at least on my screen. If we divide Mario's height, 155 centimeters, by 67 pixels, we get that 1 pixel is about 2.3134 centimeters. When Mario hit terminal velocity, he was traveling at about 20 pixels per frame. It started to get lower as he fell, but I suspect that might have something to do with the angle of the clip I was using, so we're going to say 20 pixels. My editing program had a frame rate of about 30 frames per second. This means 2.3 times 20, and we get that he's falling 56.2 centimeters per frame. And multiply that again with 30, and he's falling 13.8 meters per second. Let's round that up to 14 meters.
16 meters per second. 16 meters per second. A human skydiver hits, when he or she hits terminal velocity, falls at about 53 meters per second, which might not seem like much in comparison, or Mario might seem like he's really slow in comparison, but remember, he hits this speed immediately after he starts falling, like this, boom. If there was no air resistance to keep him from accelerating, he would have hit the floor faster than you could say, well, Super Mario. A reason for why Mario hits terminal velocity so fast could be because of a really thick atmosphere or because of a really large surface area. And while Mario does have some questionable forms, I'm going to primarily blame this one on the atmosphere. A reason for why he falls so fast though could be because of a really strong gravity. So to sum up, Super Smash Bros. Must take place in an ocean of syrup on Jupiter. Goodbye.
And the element of the month is Xenon. Xenon is about as cool as it sounds like. It is a gas that is invisible in ordinary conditions, but it glows when we increase the temperature. This is why xenon is often used in lamps with gas in them. Xenon was also the element that was used in the first laser. Don't forget to vote for your favorite element in the monthly element contest down in the comment section. Who knows, maybe your favorite element will be the next element of the month.
Okay, so now that's an important news topic I talked to you about. I'm going to start uploading less frequently. Doing it twice a month, I didn't really have the time to do proper research for my videos, and doing it twice a month also meant I had practically no free time to do what I wanted, or to do other stuff than my YouTube channel. I mean, I do enjoy my YouTube channel, I consider it work the same way I would consider school work. Work that I enjoy, obviously, but nonetheless work. And it was really stressing me out, and I wasn't doing too well. So videos will start to come out when they are ready. Hopefully once a month. I'll try to aim for once a month, probably on the 15th if I can do so, but you'll just have to wait and see. They'll be done when they'll be done. More information about this will come out later. Trust me. Okay, bye.